Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I have been so excited to film this video since this event happened. I don't even know, I can't even, like, my words are just like all over the place. I did think about bringing Phil in this video with me, but he is at work at the moment and this is kind of the only day I have to film. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, this is an engagement announcement video. On the 31st of December 2019 I got engaged. If you guys haven't been following me for a while then you won't know, but I just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a backstory. So I started dating my current fiance, who is named Phil, obviously Philip. I started dating him at the start of 2018. We got together pretty much the same night that we met, or the same day that we met, which was the 31st of December, and we kind of got together over the New Year's bit. So like the 31st of December and the 1st of January is kind of our anniversary. We had been together for 2 years exactly, and then Phil asked me to marry him. So I am now engaged. I am very happy about it, and I just thought I'd make a video all about the engagement, about the ring, about everything. I actually asked you guys on my Instagram story to send in some questions because I wasn't really too sure how to go about this video, so I thought I would just do it in like a Q&A. So you guys sent in quite a few questions, so I've had like a quick look at the questions and they're kind of very similar. I think I'm just gonna get straight into it. So the first one was from my sister, who is Anya, who is the girl with 1,000 nicknames on Instagram. She asked, I think it was, how long was Phil planning to pop the question? Like, Phil's told me this. So if you guys haven't watched the boyfriend tag, or you haven't watched any of my channel before, Phil and I moved in together after 6 months of dating, and he has told me that since we moved in together it kind of started to hit him how serious we were getting, and he kind of thought about wanting to be together long term. Obviously that was only after 6 months, so it was still quite new in the relationship to pop the question, obviously, but he kind of started thinking a bit more seriously once we moved in together, and then it's kind of been, so probably since I think about September of 2019 was when Phil was really starting to think about it, and we'd talked about it before as well, so we were kind of like on the same page with timing and everything. Wiki, I love Wiki, she's great. Wikitoria Murphy says, tell us about your ring, where is it from? So I'll kind of put in closer up pictures of my ring so that you can see it. My ring is from Michael Hill's. It is, I believe it's a white gold. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see, but it's basically got a big diamond in the front here, and then it's got 10 diamonds on either side of the ring. I didn't realize how many different styles there were of engagement rings. I don't actually know all the like specific names and stuff, and Phil's got the piece of paper somewhere else so that when I have my hand like this, all you can see is diamonds. This little bit here is like, it's not like that shape, it's kind of the other shape. You'll be able to see in the pictures, it will make more sense. I'm obsessed with it. It's perfect, and I didn't want anything that was too big. I'm really bad with rings. I always get the rings caught on stuff and I always end up pulling the jewels out by accident, so I knew that the ring that I wanted, I didn't want to have the diamond be too big so that it would catch on things, and I also didn't want it to be like, whoa, like in your face. But I wear this ring on my other hand, which is from Pascoes, and it's just a little love heart, and it's the promise ring that Phil got me, I think it was about a year ago. We got them on Valentine's Day, so I didn't want this one to be more of a focus than my actual engagement one. I wanted the engagement one to be enough of a standout, but not so in your face and so obnoxious that it would get caught on everything. Like, I tend to wear more silver jewelry than rose gold or gold, so I thought I'll just go with like a silvery white gold ring instead. As you can see, like, I've got a gold coin necklace on, but that's the only kind of gold thing that I ever wear, whereas rings I tend to go silver. This one is actually, I think it's part of a set as well, so it comes with like the wedding band and like one other ring, but at the moment all we've got is the engagement ring. We don't have the wedding rings or anything else. We got it fitted to my size, so that Phil had the right size. I think it's so pretty, and it's so shiny when it catches the light. And now we've got quite a few from James Carlton 90. So he says, where is the ring from? I've covered that. From Michael Hills. How much was your ring? So I don't want to say the exact amount because we actually got it when Michael Hills was having a little bit of a sale, but I'm just going to generalize. So it was from 2 grand to 3 grand. Who was there? So I'm thinking that you mean who was there when Phil proposed. So it was just Phil and I. Was something that I had talked to Phil about because I didn't want a lot of people being around, because I kind of hate all the attention being on me when it's something as personal as getting engaged. So I just wanted it to be Phil and I, and he planned it perfectly. So was the moment what you expected? I mean, I don't think you can be like 100% certain on how things are going to play out in life. Things just kind of do, but I think I kind of knew it was coming. So I think I might join the was the moment what you expected with his question of where did it happen. So there is like a hill that me and Phil always walk up. It is quite a special kind of hill, and there's like this like redwoods forest there, and the trees are really tall, and they're beautiful. They're always like a browny reddy kind of color on the leaves. I've gone there since I was a kid. I went there on school trips, and ever since I was little, my dad and I had been walking up the hill together, and then when I met Phil, I started bringing Phil along. And it's also where my granddad's ashes got scattered, so it is a very special place in my heart. Phil actually took me there and proposed. He was going to propose at the top of the hill, but he didn't want a lot of people to be around, and because it was New Year's Eve at the time, a lot of people tend to go up this hill and like drink and smoke and stuff on like big event days like this. There was like a couple of other people that like were there, but then they walked off, so he kind of waited till they walked off, I guess the day leading up to it. So Phil had work in the morning, and I was just at home and I was filming, and then I was really exhausted, and then Phil comes home and he's like, oh, let's go for a walk up the hill. And I was like, oh, like I really don't feel like it. He's like, oh please, can we go? I'm like, oh, can it wait till tomorrow? And he's like, no, it can't. And because I'd had my mum over in the day, they had talked to Phil about it, and Phil had told them his plan, and like my mum had said it was perfect. So I kind of asked, because mum had told me not to go up the hill that day, so I figured that it wasn't gonna be like the time that he was proposing. So as my mum would say like, oh yeah, I think you should go up, but I think she just meant don't go up to the top, because like people would be like drinking and smoking and stuff. So we were kind of walking, and then he's like, oh, I just want to go to the forest. So I was like, okay, like, because he'd kind of been dropping hints like all week that he wanted to go and do this walk, but I just figured it was just like another like, you know, I want to do this walk to get fit kind of thing, because he's also been talking about like improving his fitness this year. Walked to this forest, and then we kind of just like lingered in there for a bit. We like cuddled, and then I was like, okay, which track do you want to do? Because like there's different like directions and stuff that you can go off on what track you want to do. But I was like, all right, let's go. And then he's like, oh, and then he kind of just like lingered and wasn't moving, and I was like, what are you doing? Like then the people walked off, and then Phil kind of gave me a cuddle, and then like as he was giving me a cuddle, he turned me around and put his hands like over my eyes, and he was like, close your eyes. And then that was kind of when I was like, okay, like I think it's happening. And then he was like, okay, keep them closed. And then like I could hear him like fiddling around with stuff, so I just figured like, I kind of knew at that point that he was gonna propose. So then like he said Paige, and then I was like, yeah, and he's like, turn around and open your eyes. And then I turned around, opened my eyes, and he was on his knees. In a way, like when we actually got to the forest, it was what I was expecting. What do your families think? So our families are very happy for us. Like I mentioned, Phil actually went and talked to my mum and dad a few days prior to him proposing. So he sat down with them, asked them, obviously they said yes, and just kind of told him what they expected. So just like that, he had to look after me, and then they were asking him questions like, how long would our engagement be, how long before we have kids, like would we have a joint bank account, like all of those just kind of like things you need to think about once you get engaged, if that makes sense. So his parents didn't actually know that he was proposing, but his dad had just proposed to his stepmom and they are getting married. They're probably already married by the time this video goes up. They had just got engaged, and then so like Phil didn't tell them until he actually got engaged, but he texted them on the day, and his dad was so happy for us, his stepmom was happy for us, and then his mum loves me. Like Phil says that she pretty much treats me like a daughter, like she hasn't treated any of his like girlfriends like that before. So she was really happy for us, and her boyfriend was also really happy for us as well, and obviously my sisters were really excited as well. Did you have to think about the answer? No. I've always had a good feeling about Phil from the start. I knew that I wanted to be with him, so there was no doubt in my mind that I was picking the right guy. What did Phil say? So I think he means like when Phil proposed. So he literally just said my name and just said, will you marry me? And he had like a big smile on his face. He was really nervous. He told me he was really nervous when he was actually proposing, so I mean that was all I needed, and I just thought it was the cutest thing ever. What were you both wearing? So I mean I've got a photo of what I was wearing because obviously like Phil took a photo of me, and I've got a picture of Phil what he was wearing as well, so I'll put some pictures on the screen now. Basically what we were wearing is just like active wear because we were out having a walk. And have you started planning the wedding? Yes, so we've kind of got like a time frame to start with on how long we want to be engaged. At the moment I'm just starting to think of basics, like who my bridesmaids are going to be, what colours I want the dresses, what colours I want the actual wedding, and I've done a guest list as well, and Phil and I are starting to think about seasons, and that's kind of all we've planned, and we've talked about venues as well. And the last question from James was, when will the wedding be? So we don't know like the set date of when our wedding will be, but we're just gonna kind of play it by ear and see how much we've saved and how much we've planned, because we don't want to just limit ourselves to a certain budget, because obviously a wedding only happens once, so we want to make sure we do it right. And if that means we save for a little bit longer so we can have our dream wedding, then that's how it's gonna be. So now we've got some from Ashley_Patterson_X. She said, all details of what happened please. So I think I've kind of already covered that before. Do you like the ring? I love the ring. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so pretty, and it's so me. And I showed my mum, and it's actually very similar to my mum's engagement ring, which I had no idea. Did you expect it? Yes and no. I kind of already covered that. So like once I actually got to the redwoods and I knew how persistent he was on going to the redwoods forest and walking up the hill, I kind of had like a slight suspicion. But I had asked Phil like a few days before if it was happening soon or if it was still quite far off, and he said it was still quite far off. So I didn't know it was going to happen that soon, but then I know that he said that just to throw me off. She says, did you choose the ring? Yes. So Phil and I went into Michael Hill's in about October, so we'd actually had the ring for a lot longer. So we went into Michael Hill's one afternoon and we were in there for 3 hours just sitting down with the lady, and she was asking us questions about Phil and I, how long we've been together, what our relationship is like, just so that she could kind of get an idea of who we were as a couple and kind of help us pick a ring together. Phil wanted to take me in there because he didn't want to go in there by himself, and after actually talking with the lady, he said he was so glad that he took me because he would have had no idea. We tried on so many different ones, but then in the end there was 3 that I liked in the entire store. One of them was obviously this one, the other one was this one, but the diamond was slightly bigger, and then there was another one that had like 2 layers, and then in this little joinery bit in here there was a little pink sapphire, which I did originally want that one, but that one was also like 5 grand and we didn't have 5 grand, so I was like, okay, no, I kind of can't get that one. But then out of the other 2 I really liked this one. And if you've actually been into Michael Hill and talked with any of the people that work there that know about engagement rings, you will realize how complicated it is. Tried this one on with wedding bands and it looked really pretty. So I said, yep, I want this one. So then they obviously got it sent away and got it custom made to my size, and then they took Phil's details, so when it was ready Phil just went and picked it up. So then I've got one from Evangeline.Oliver. I can't see your entire message, I can only see like a little bit. All I can see is, did you have a feeling he was going to, or was it, I think it was going to say a complete surprise. I knew that he was going to do it before the end of 2020. I didn't know he was going to do it on our anniversary. So again, I've got one from Bree_Jardine_, and I can only see part of the message. It's kind of the same question, and it's just, did you know it was going to happen that day, or were you completely taken by, I think surprise is the last word. And she says, congratulations BTWXX. Thank you so much. Yes, my top is different. I have just gotten back from having lunch with my friend JD, who you guys have met, and I got a few more questions, or a couple more questions actually, so I just thought I would include them in this video while I've still got my camera set up. So they're both from Casey May Butcher. So she said, do you plan on a small or bigger wedding? I don't want to go too big and I don't want to go too small. I kind of just want something in the middle. My guest list at the moment is quite big. I think I want to have a bigger wedding and a smaller reception, but still not like huge in the scheme of things. And the second one I've kind of already touched on, but she said, did you pick out the ring or did he completely surprise you? Yeah, those are all of the questions I received. That's probably everything I'm going to cover. If you do want me to do a Q&A with Phil, then let me know in the comments down below. But hopefully that answered your questions. I think something else I did want to share is we also went out and celebrated afterwards. So obviously with it being New Year's Eve, we pretty much just like, once he proposed, we pretty much just left and we didn't do any more of the walk, because we started going up the hill at like 4 o'clock, and usually it takes like a couple of hours, and the fireworks and stuff that we were going to go and watch, and like the performances that were on, and they started at 7. So I knew we didn't have a lot of time in between, because like the hill is like half an hour away from where we live, so we obviously had to drive there and back, so that's like an hour trip. Obviously told everybody, we put it on Facebook, and then we went out for dinner. Again, I can put some footage and stuff, but we went out for dinner at Lone Star to celebrate, which was really nice, and then we went and watched the performances that we were going to go and watch, which we ended up getting to the performances at about 9, but the performances were going from about 7 till like midnight, so we kind of had that gap. We finished dinner at about 9, went from dinner to the performances, and then watched the performances, and then went down to the beach to watch the fireworks. So it was honestly the perfect night. I couldn't have asked for a better proposal, I couldn't have asked for a better fiance, and it was just perfect, and I have never felt so happy in my entire life. So yeah, it was just the perfect day, and it was definitely one to remember. Yeah, if you liked this video and you're happy for Phil and I being engaged, then like the video and subscribe down below. Turn on the notifications, and please check out my social media. Hopefully I've covered everything, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!